All right, let's talk FIA1. This is your first big assessment, and it's a huge deal. It really sets the foundation for your entire senior journey. And today, we're going to give you the ultimate blueprint to absolutely smash it.
You got it. But hey, let's think about this differently. This isn't just some scary exam. It's a game. And any game can be won if you have the right strategy, right? So, are you ready to get that game plan? Let's jump right in.
Okay, so here's our game plan for today. We'll break down the exam, nail the short answer strategy, master that big extended response, and finally, talk about winning on time. All right, section 1, the exam breakdown. Let's look at what you're actually up against. You've got 2 hours to write, but before that, you get a super important 15 minutes of planning time. And the whole thing is going to be centered around one business case study, probably a business that's either in its startup phase or its growth phase. Okay, that 15 minutes of planning time, it's gold. Seriously, do not skip this. A lot of students just dive straight into writing, and that is a big mistake. So here's how you use it. First 5 minutes, scan that stimulus. Highlight everything that jumps out. Facts, figures, problems. Next 7 minutes or so, just scribble down at rough SWOT. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Get it on paper. Then, in those last couple of minutes, find one obvious trend and one clear relationship. Trust me, this sets you up for everything. Okay, part 2, the short answers. This is where you can get some quick, easy wins and build up some serious momentum. But you gotta know what you're dealing with. There are 2 very different types of questions here. Explain and describe. And getting this difference is probably the most important thing for this section. Explain questions are all about the syllabus. It's pure theory, just showing the marker you know your definitions. But describe questions, they're different. You have to, and I mean must, link your answer directly to the business in the case study. If you don't make that link, you're getting 0 marks. It's really that black and white. So, how do you nail those explain questions? Easy. You use the Peel method. This is your secret weapon, seriously. It's not optional if you want top marks. First, make your point. A clear, direct statement. Then, explain it. What are the key terms? Then, give an example. This can just be a generic one, from any business. And finally, link it all back to the question you were asked. PEEL. Do that, and you're good to go. Right on. Now, for the describe questions, I want you to picture this. You're building a bridge. On one side of the river, you have your textbook syllabus definition, like what a sole trader is. On the other side, you have the specific facts from the case study. Your job is to build that bridge and connect them. So you'd say something like, a sole trader is defined as X, and we can see this in the case study because Mia Chen at Brisbane Brew Co. has complete control over all decisions. You're literally building that connection for the marker. All right, let's get to the main event, the big one, the extended response. This is where the bulk of your marks are, but don't let that freak you out, because we have a blueprint for this too. A simple little mnemonic to remember, ATRECR. This is going to be your guide. And here it is. This is the official format for 2025. Yeah, I know, it looks like a lot on the page, but I promise it's not as scary as it looks. Think of this as your treasure map to an A. We're going to walk through it piece by piece, starting with that first letter, A, for analysis. Okay, so let's zoom in on that SWOT matrix. The biggest mistake people make here is getting internal and external factors mixed up. Just remember this, strengths and weaknesses are internal, stuff the business can actually control. Like Brisbane Brew Co. has a loyal customer base, that's a strength. But being a sole trader means it's hard to get money, that's a weakness. Then you've got opportunities and threats. Those are external, stuff happening out in the market that the business can't control. Okay, this next part is a total game changer. This is where you stop just listing things and start thinking like a real business strategist. I'm talking about the SO and WT paragraphs. This is what gets you into the top marks. Your SO paragraph is all about how the business can use a strength to go after an opportunity. And your WT paragraph is about how it can deal with a weakness so it doesn't get crushed by a threat. Next up, we have T and R. That's trend and relationship. For trend, you're looking for a pattern in the case study. Maybe it's that customers are demanding more sustainable products. You'd talk about the immediate impact, like, hey, more people are buying our eco-friendly coffee. But also the long-term impact, like we need to make sure our whole supply chain is sustainable. Then there's relationship. This is about connecting 2 things inside the business, like how does the ownership structure affect its ability to grow? It's all about cause and effect inside the company's 4 walls. And now for E and C, evaluation and criteria. This is where you put on your consultant hat. You're basically judging a business decision. You'll clearly state the strategy you're looking at, like, should they become a private company? And then, this is key.
You have to judge it using the 2 specific criteria they give you in the exam. And the tool for the job is this, the decision-making matrix. It's basically a fancy pros and cons list. For each of those criteria, like competitiveness or stakeholder satisfaction, you're just going to list the positives and negatives you can find in the case study. So, would becoming a private company make them more competitive? That's a plus. But would it make all the stakeholders happy? Maybe not. You just weigh up the evidence right here in the table. So you've filled out your matrix, you've weighed the pros and cons, and now you make a decision. That leads us to the very last letter, R, for recommendation. And listen, this is not just a summary of what you've already said. This is you giving clear, direct advice to the business owner. Based on my analysis, you should do this. It has to flow logically from all the work you've just shown.
Okay, you've got the strategy, you know how to answer every single part of this exam. But it's all for nothing if that clock runs out. So let's talk about the final, crucial piece of this puzzle, winning on time. This right here is your magic formula for the 2 hours. Look, give the extended response a whole hour, a full 60 minutes. It's half your time because it's worth the most marks. That leaves you with 1 hour for the 4 short answers. So you split that evenly, about 15 minutes for each explain question and 15 minutes for each describe question. Seriously, try to stick to this like glue.
All right, let's wrap it up with some rapid-fire tips for exam day. 1. Use every second of that 15-minute planning time. 2. Smash out the short answers first to get your confidence up. 3. On describe questions, always build that bridge to the stimulus. 4. ATRCR is your best friend for the extended response. Use it. And 5. Keep one eye on the clock. Stick to your times.
Look, you have put in the work. You know your stuff. And now you have the strategy. Go in there, trust your preparation, follow the game plan we've laid out, and just go for it. You are ready for this. You've got this.